Good morning. It is Wednesday, June 10th. This is going to be the last lesson that we're going to be doing other than review for your test. I can set up exponential models using the formula. So this is an easier version of what you've done in Algebra 2. This is the Algebra 1 version of it. And our formula, there's no compounding. It's just a equals principal parentheses 1 plus or minus the rate to the power of time. And yes, we do have a song for this. So this is the Algebra 1 version of the song. It's definitely not as long as the Algebra 2 version of the song. And that's not it. It is... Here it is.
By 100, yo. Initial parentheses, 1 plus or minus the rate to the power of time. Divide the rate by 100, yo.
Nice and simple. Just principal parentheses, 1 plus or minus the rate to the power of time. If it's increasing, it's plus. If it's decreasing, it's minus. That's it. This is going to be a really simple one. Ann invested $1,000 in an account with a 1.3% annual interest rate. So interest is always getting bigger. Interest is plus. She made no deposits or withdrawals for 2 years. If the interest was compounded annually. So again, annually is what you're going to see. Annually is when you're just using this formula. So it's A equals principal parentheses 1 plus or minus the rate to the power of time. Divide the rate by 100, yo. Don't forget, we're always dividing the rate by 100. So we get A equals the principal, the initial amount is 1,000. 1 plus 0.013 to the power of time is 2. And that's it in this case. Normally, you're going to have to then combine what's in the parentheses. 1 plus 0.013 is 1.013. Then you can type that into the calculator to get an actual answer. But here it's just, that's it. Dylan invested $600 in a savings account at a 1. This one's too similar to the second one. Let's try a different one. Cassandra bought an antique dresser for $500. If the value of her dresser increases 6%, so whenever you're increasing or decreasing by a percent, principal parentheses 1 plus or minus the rate to the power of time. Divide the rate by 100, yo. So my principal or initial value is 500. It's plus because it's increasing 0.06 to the power of time is 3. Now in general, I like you to combine what's in the parentheses because if it's asking for an actual equation, it's multiple choice. A lot of times it'll be written like this. And now, because it's asking for the actual value, I'm going to go to my calculator. I'm going to type in 500, 1.06 to the power of 3 to the nearest dollar. That's 596. Why don't you try number 5 on your own right now? Just instead of writing an equation, just either way. Write an equation and also find. I'll give you about a minute or so. I want you to try this one on your own. Okay, because I'm increasing or decreasing by a percent, principal parentheses 1 plus or minus the rate to the power of time. Don't forget to divide the rate by 100, yo. Interest is always plus, so the principal or initial value is 1,000. 1 plus 0.03 to the power of 5. It wants V, so I'm just going to call it V equals 1,000. 1 plus 0.03 is 1.03 to the power of 5. I go to my calculator. 1,000, 1.03 to the power of 5. In general, with money, if they don't see what to round to the nearest cent. 11.59.27. That's it. Now we're going to go in the other direction. Function v of t, blah, 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 represents the value v of t in dollars of a comic book t years after its purchase. The yearly rate of appreciation of the comic is. So it's asking for the rate. So I know, so let's start by writing what we have here. V of t equals 1350, 1.017 to the power of t. And I know it's principal parentheses 1 plus or minus the rate to the power of time. Well, is this more than 1 or less than 1? It's more than 1. So I know, if I'm talking about the rate here, 1 plus the rate is 1.017. Now, we can do this algebraically, but I'd rather not. What are we adding to 1 to get 1.017? We're adding 0.017. All right, the rate is what you're adding or subtracting from 1 inside the parentheses, so this is 0.017 more than 1. Now that's the rate. If I want it as a percent, notice these all have percents, it's the opposite direction as before. So to make it into a percent, I'm multiplying by 100, which is moving the decimal 2 places to the right, and I get 1.7%. So if they give you the equation, look, and they want the rate, look inside the parentheses, look to see what you're adding or subtracting from 1, and then multiply it by 100. And listen, if you want, you could always just do 1 plus r equals 1.017 and solve from there. But I think it's going to be easier for you to just, if you really need to understand what's going on when you see this here, you're adding 0.017, so that's your rate. Multiply it by 100 to make it into a percent. So we've got v of x for number 8 equals 30,000, 0.78 to the power of x. It's asking about the rate. So I know that it's principal parentheses 1 plus or minus the rate to the power of time. Is this more than 1 or less than 1? Well, it's less than 1, so it's going to be minus. So, is it increasing or decreasing? It's decreasing since it's less than 1. So 3 and 4 are out. What are you subtracting from 1 to get 0.78? Or what are you subtracting from 100 to get 78? You're taking away 0.22. Now again, if you can't follow that, then you can just do, well, 1 minus r equals 0.78. Do the algebra. And again, once you have your rate as a decimal, you can multiply it by 100 to get your percent. So again, whatever's in the parentheses is 1 plus or minus the rate. Once you determine what you're adding or subtracting from 1, you just multiply it by 100. And let's just do one more. I feel like the rest, this is more Regents than SAT, but it's still important that it's kind of more just solidifying this understanding here. It's giving an equation of the value of a car, and it's asking for the initial value and the depreciation rate. Let's start by writing V of t equals 25,500.83 to the power of time. Principal parentheses 1 plus or minus the rate to the power of time. Is this more than 1 or less than 1? Well, it's less than 1, which means that I am subtracting. So my principal or initial value is always what's in front of the parentheses, which is 25,500. My rate, well, what am I subtracting from 1 to get 0.83? 0.17. If I want that as a percent, I multiply it by 100, and I get 17%. And again, if you can't do that mentally, then you can just set 1 minus r equal to what's in there. Either 1 minus r or 1 plus r, depending if it's more or less than 1. And when I do the algebra, I will get my answer. But again, I mean, especially after going through Algebra 2, you really should be able to see 0.83 and understand that it's decreasing by 17%. So my initial value is 25,500. My rate is 17%. So your classwork/homework is going to be to practice. Your quiz is going to be due tomorrow night. And this is going to be the last new lesson that we do. So classwork/homework, finish worksheet, and then quiz will be due tomorrow night. Tomorrow we're going to review, and then the following day we're going to test, and that's going to be it for new material. After that, you'll have an opportunity to make up anything. If you don't have anything to make up, then you're done. But you will have a few days to raise your grade. Reach out to me and remind if you want to know how to do that. I'm giving you plenty of opportunities. You just need to take advantage of them. And again, I hope everyone has a great day. And reach out to me and remind if you have any issues or questions. That's it.